The last time I spoke to you, you were living in your manager Amy's house whenever you were in New York, you told me.
Yeah.
Has the housing thing changed?
Yes.
What's the current situation?
I found a little room in the East Village, so I'm on my own now. I think it's the first time I've lived on my own, ever in my life. So it's, without a roommate or something. It's a new experience, but I'm never there, so I don't really know what it's like, to be honest with you.
And how's that for the rest of the band? Are you also living in New York in your own place, or?
Yeah. I'm in the East Village too, just a couple blocks from Johnny's place. But I have a roommate. I have a roommate and my brother. And we get along just fine.
Has it been important to have a place of your own for this new record?
I don't know. We recorded the whole record in my place, so I guess it was.
But in maybe a more...
In the sense that you could say for yourself, okay, now I'm gonna just sit at home. And
Well, it's just a place that you can have everything you own in one spot, That's why people get places, to kind of keep everything in one spot and have a home base, I guess, and I think I slept there.
It's funny the way we need to break it down like that.
Yeah.
People have places so they can keep their stuff there.
No, but that's how we have to think. When you're on the road, you have to think about things that way. Where can I put all my stuff? And we're not in the position to buy a nice house somewhere, and so we're all living in these little spaces around Manhattan, and we all would meet at my place and we'd record there, just in my kitchen. That's where most of the record was done. We did a few tracks at a friend's place. But, we didn't go into the studio or anything. It was all just kind of very homespun. But it's nice to get a break from these guys a little bit. We're on the road constantly, so we used to all live together in the same apartment, so that would get pretty taxing after a 2-month tour to come home and still feel like you're in a van with these 3 other people that you love dearly, but could use a real break from, just like anything,
Yeah, because 2010 you've seen the entire world, from Asia to Europe, Mexico, the States.
A couple times.
But what's the happiest period in that year you've had?
In this past year?
In 2010, in the year you've been traveling so much?
The whole thing is a blur.
It really is. It's hard to really, it's not like going on vacation where you kind of work. It's kind of like asking someone who might work at an office or something, what was your favorite day working at the office? You know what I mean? All those days kind of blur together. If you asked me maybe what my favorite day at home was, I could maybe answer that. Like maybe someone working in an office could answer what their favorite day on the holiday is, because that's not something they normally do.
We did have a big kind of...
or maybe we do know.
Well, I'm not saying definitely, I'm just saying when our record was released last year, we were in London and we did some record release shows, and it just kind of seemed like everything had been building to that, so that kind of seemed substantial.
Was that just last year?
It was, yeah.
It's insane.
Last, July?
Feels like our record
something?
came out 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's that much has been crammed into that amount of time. But, I think that's why everything seems
That's
like
just
a
the only
blur.
thing I can think of that seems almost like a marker, sort of.
And then beyond that, it's just...
It's all downhill from there.
But is that really you've something you've been living up to during that year? You knew that the London shows were coming up and you were living up to that?
Not really. We just knew the record. We worked really hard on that record and we couldn't wait for it to come out, because all we had out before that was one EP that, we felt like wasn't quite us. It was us, but we had a full-length record that was kind of different than the EP that we just wanted everyone to hear.
Was it also a bit disappointing, perhaps, that now looking back at it now, that it's such a blur? Had you perhaps thought it would be more of a lasting memory or something?
I don't know. I
don't really think so. I mean, my whole life seems like a blur, you know what I mean? Isn't that most people? Don't most people kind of like, who really has vivid memories of every day?
Well, some people like keep diaries and take lots of pictures and stuff.
Yeah, but for those
We're
of
not
us
like
who
that.
don't, I think we're in the mindset of, we have songs that sound very nostalgic, but as far as actually, looking into the past and dwelling on those things, I think we just like to keep in the present and look toward the future, rather than spending all of our time thinking of the past or wondering about, do we regret this, or do we wish we would have done something differently, or it's I think it's more exciting, the unknown. You kind of know what the past was, but looking forward is makes you feel a little bit more alive, I think.
But are you excited about going through it all again?
There are parts that are exciting. It'll be nice to get a new record out. By the time the first record was released, we've been playing those songs for, almost a year. So we were kind of already itching to start working on new material. So it doesn't seem sudden to us that we have an album done. We were working on it while we were touring. When we'd get off tour, we'd have a weekend off in between tours, or a week off, and we'd write and record. And before we knew it, we had Portamento. It was finished, and it seemed like a really natural thing. It didn't seem forced, or the process didn't seem, I don't know, it didn't feel like we were pushing for anything. It just kind of like wrote itself, So that's when it's okay to release it. That's when it feels that natural. So, I think. So that's the most exciting part about the future, is being able to kind of introduce this more refined world of the drums. I feel like we're digging into what we actually always have been, but maybe didn't quite know it at the beginning. We sort of grew up, kind of felt like we were growing up under a microscope in a way. We played our first show, and a few months later we were touring the world and didn't have a chance to even breathe. So I think we've breathed a little even while touring, and really kind of figured out who we are and as a band, and I think the new record really reflects that. So it's nice to introduce that to people who listen to our music.